Life will hit you with moments that make you question everything. You'll find yourself standing in a storm, looking at your life and thinking, God, how do I even handle this? That's normal. Nobody has it all figured out. The first step toward handling any situation is admitting that you don't know everything. Pretending you have it all together only weighs you down and blocks clarity. You have to start with honesty. Admitting your limits is not weakness, it's strength. It's saying, I recognize I'm human and I need divine guidance. When you accept that, the pressure to have everything figured out immediately begins to lift. This is where growth starts, when you stop acting like you're in control of everything and start relying on God. You have to let go of the illusion that you should have all the answers. That illusion can paralyze you. It can make you feel isolated in your struggles. But when you acknowledge your need, you open the door for God to work. He's not surprised by your challenges. He sees your situation clearly. Being honest with yourself also means being honest with God. Say it out loud, I don't know how to handle this. When you do that, something shifts inside you. There's a release, a surrender, and a readiness for divine direction. You're no longer fighting the problem alone. Admitting you don't know doesn't mean you are powerless. It means you are ready to receive help from the only one who truly knows everything. God has been there before the challenge even appeared. He's already prepared solutions, and admitting your need makes you open to seeing them. You might feel embarrassed to admit you're struggling. Society tells us to always appear strong. But strength is not in pretending. Strength is in being real and vulnerable, even in front of God. Vulnerability is where transformation begins, and admitting you don't have all the answers is the first act of courage in that transformation. Finally, once you admit you don't have all the answers, peace starts to seep in. You don't have to solve everything today. You've taken the first step toward clarity. God can begin guiding you step by step, and that's how real breakthroughs happen. The moment you admit you need Him is the moment He can show up in ways you never imagined. When life gets overwhelming, your instinct is to act fast. You think, I need to fix this now, but rushing only amplifies confusion. Sometimes the best thing you can do is stop. Take a deep breath. Pause. Give yourself a moment to think clearly before responding. A pause is not an action, it's strategy. It allows your mind to calm down, your heart to realign, and your spirit to reset. When you pause, God has space to speak. That's when the path forward becomes clearer. The chaos slows down enough for insight to arrive. The power of a pause is underestimated. It prevents rash decisions that could make the situation worse. A moment of stillness allows you to consider the bigger picture instead of getting lost in immediate panic. It's in those still moments that God whispers the instructions you can trust. Sometimes we confuse action with progress. Just because you are busy doesn't mean you are moving in the right direction. Taking a deep breath allows discernment. It gives you the chance to identify what really matters and where your energy should go. Breathing deeply has a physical impact as well. It lowers stress, sharpens focus, and helps you think more logically. When your body is calm, your mind can process solutions without fear clouding judgment. Even science confirms that deep breathing improves decision making under pressure. Don't underestimate the spiritual benefits either. A pause is a moment of connection with God. When everything feels overwhelming, stopping allows you to say, God, I need you. Show me what to do. It turns frantic energy into focused faith. Finally, pausing is an act of trust. It says, I believe God is bigger than this problem, and I don't need to fix it all right now. When you pause, you give yourself the opportunity to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. That's how storms start to calm step by step. Prayer is not a ritual, it's a conversation. Too often, we treat God like a distant figure who only listens to formal, perfectly worded sentences. But He wants authenticity. He wants your heart spoken plainly, exactly as it is. Say it like you mean it. God, I don't know what to do. I'm overwhelmed. I'm scared. Don't sugarcoat. Don't filter. He already knows. Speaking honestly allows you to release burdens and invite His presence into your struggle. Talking to God as if He's right there transforms your perspective. You stop feeling alone. You stop pretending you have it together. And when you bring your full, unfiltered self to Him, you create a space for His guidance, His peace, and His solutions to flow. It's easy to get caught up in worry and self-talk, spinning problems over and over in your mind. Prayer interrupts that cycle. It's a direct line to the one who can change everything. When you speak, listen too. God often speaks through that still, quiet space. Being real in prayer also strengthens your faith. When you consistently bring your struggles and doubts before God, you build a relationship grounded in trust. That trust becomes your anchor when challenges intensify. You realize you're not navigating life alone. Prayer is also a reminder of perspective. The problems that seem so overwhelming in the moment are often tiny in the grand scheme of God's plan. Talking to Him helps you see things differently, with clarity that only comes from above. Finally, talking to God like He's right there shifts your mindset from panic to hope. It turns confusion into clarity and fear into courage. Once you do this consistently, you'll find yourself handling situations with more wisdom, more calm, and more faith than ever before. Pressure is uncomfortable. It stretches you, tests you, and makes you feel like life is heavier than you can carry. But here's the truth: pressure is not just a problem. Pressure is preparation. Every challenge, every trial, every I don't know how moment is shaping you. It's teaching patience, resilience, and wisdom that comfort and ease could never provide. Life doesn't make you strong by leaving you in your comfort zone. When pressure hits, you have a choice. You can let it crush you, or you can let it mold you. Those who handle their storms well understand that every heavy moment carries a lesson and an opportunity for growth. Think of pressure as God's way of refining your purpose. Diamonds are created under intense pressure, and so are you. The struggles that feel unbearable today are building strength, character, and vision for tomorrow. Pressure also reveals your priorities. It strips away distractions and forces you to focus on what truly matters. The things that survive the pressure are the things worth investing in. God uses these moments to show you what's essential and what's not. Handling pressure requires faith. You must believe that God is not punishing you, but preparing you. When you recognize that pressure builds purpose, your perspective shifts. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is God teaching me?" Finally, embracing pressure changes how you handle future challenges. You begin to see obstacles not as setbacks, but as stepping stones. You develop confidence that you can face anything because every past trial has proven that God equips you for what lies ahead. Life can get messy. Problems pile up, stress hits hard, and emotions flare. Fear, doubt, anger, sadness, they all show up. Pretending they aren't there doesn't help. Ignoring emotions only makes them stronger. You have to feel what you feel. Cry if you need to. Let the anger out in a healthy way. Allow yourself to process the sadness. God doesn't expect you to be perfect. He expects you to be real. Ignoring your emotions leads to bigger problems later. Bottled up feelings turn into resentment, anxiety, and poor decisions. Facing your emotions gives you the clarity to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Being honest with your emotions also strengthens your faith. When you bring them to God, He transforms fear into courage, despair into hope, and confusion into clarity. Emotions become fuel for growth rather than chains that hold you back. Your feelings are indicators, not dictators. They point you to what matters, what needs attention, and what you need to pray about. Respect them, study them, learn from them. God uses them to guide you. Sharing emotions with trusted friends or mentors can also help. Sometimes an outside perspective is what turns a feeling into insight. God can speak through people who are grounded in wisdom and love. Finally, handling emotions well allows you to act with integrity and confidence. You stop reacting from a place of fear and start responding with faith. Your emotions become allies, not enemies, in the journey God has for you. No one succeeds alone. When life gets hard, seek advice from people you trust, those who have wisdom, experience, and perspective. They can help you see solutions you may have missed. Listen carefully, but remember, their approval is not the goal. Some people will doubt you. Others may misunderstand your decisions. That's normal. Your guidance comes from God, not everyone else. Counsel gives you insight, but your faith must guide the final decision. God's voice may contradict what others suggest, and that's okay. Trust that His direction is perfect even when it's unconventional. Learning to balance counsel with independence is crucial. Take advice seriously, but weigh it against your convictions and God's promises. A wise person listens, prays, and then decides with courage. Dependence on approval leads to paralysis. Fear of rejection keeps you from moving forward. But when you act with God's guidance, approval becomes irrelevant. Confidence grows from obedience, not popularity. Sometimes seeking counsel is also about emotional support. You need reassurance, encouragement, and perspective. God often works through mentors and friends to give clarity and strength. Finally, handling situations with counsel and independence shows maturity. You learn to navigate life with wisdom, faith, and courage. You respect input, but ultimately move forward boldly, knowing God is in control. Life has tested you before. You face storms, heartbreaks, and challenges, and yet here you are. Remember those victories. They are proof that you can handle today's struggles too. Reflecting on past wins builds confidence. When fear tells you, you can't do this, your memory can say, you've done it before, and you can do it again. Faith is strengthened by evidence of God's past faithfulness. Your past victories are reminders of resilience. You survived what felt impossible. You made it through heartbreak, loss, and setbacks. That resilience is in you today, ready to face the next challenge. Celebrate even small wins. Every time you resisted giving up, prayed instead of panicked, or stayed faithful under pressure, you added proof to your story of victory. These moments matter. Remembering past victories also shifts perspective. It helps you see challenges as temporary, not permanent. You begin to trust God more because you see a pattern. He has never left you and never will. Sharing your story of triumph can inspire others. When you recall how God brought you through, you remind someone else that they can survive their storm too. Your past becomes a tool for empowerment. Finally, past victories remind you to stay humble but confident. Humble because life is not always easy. Confident because God has been faithful before, and His power is greater than any challenge you face now. Overwhelm comes from looking at the entire mountain in front of you, the solution. Stop trying to climb it all at once. Focus on one step, one step. Small steps build momentum. Each action, no matter how tiny, moves you closer to resolution. It could be a prayer, a conversation, or a simple choice to trust God today. These small steps compound into progress. Focusing on one step reduces fear. The journey seems less intimidating when you concentrate on what you can do right now instead of what you can't control in the future. God works through your obedience one step at a time. You don't need to see the entire plan. You just need to move where He points, trust the guidance, and let Him handle the rest. Taking one step also strengthens faith. Each step you take in trust becomes evidence that God is guiding you. Confidence grows as you experience success in incremental progress. When you take one step at a time, you stop being paralyzed by the unknown. You start gaining clarity and confidence. The next step becomes easier once you've handled the one before it. Finally, one step at a time teaches patience and perseverance. Life is rarely fixed in a single move, but consistent action aligned with God's guidance creates breakthroughs. Step by step, you move toward victory. Life often leaves us staring into the unknown, wondering what's coming next. You can't see the whole picture, but that's okay. Trusting the process means believing that God is orchestrating things behind the scenes, even when your eyes tell a different story. Faith is moving forward without having all the answers. It's walking through the storm with courage, knowing that every step has a purpose. God sees the ending before you take the first step, and that gives you an advantage. It's easy to get frustrated when things don't happen on your timeline, but God's schedule is perfect. Delays don't mean denial, they mean preparation. The waiting period is training, building patience, wisdom, and strength for the victory ahead. Trusting the process requires letting go of control. When you try to force solutions, you risk missing divine guidance. Surrendering the outcome to God allows you to act with confidence instead of fear. Obstacles will come, but trusting the process keeps you steady. You may face setbacks, but they are not the end. They are opportunities to learn, grow, and rely more deeply on God's provision. Remember, the process is not punishment. It's preparation. Every challenge, every detour, every I don't know how moment is shaping you for a purpose. Trust that God's plan is bigger than what you can see. Finally, trusting the process brings peace. Even in uncertainty, you can move with courage, knowing that the path is guided. The key is faith, patience, and obedience. Step by step, God is working it out, even when the way seems unclear. Your mind is a battlefield. Thoughts of doubt, fear, and worry will try to take root and control your actions. Protecting your mind is essential to handle life's challenges effectively. Negativity is a thief. It steals peace, clarity, and confidence. You must be intentional about what you allow to stay in your mind. Guard it as fiercely as you guard your body and soul. Feed your mind with truth, not fear. Scripture, affirmations, and positive counsel act as shields against discouragement. What you focus on grows stronger in your life. Fill your thoughts with hope, and hope becomes your guide. Reject the lies that tell you, you can't do this. They are not from God. God's voice affirms, encourages, and equips you. Learn to distinguish between fear-driven thoughts and divine guidance. Protecting your mind also means limiting exposure to toxic influences. Media, conversations, and environments can reinforce fear and doubt. Choose what you consume wisely and surround yourself with faith-filled influences. A strong mind gives you clarity in the midst of chaos. When you protect your thoughts, you act from wisdom rather than panic. Decisions become strategic, not reactive, and challenges feel less overwhelming. Finally, cultivating a protected mind builds resilience. When negativity knocks, you are ready to stand firm. You handle adversity with calm, clarity, and confidence because your inner world is grounded in truth, faith, and hope. Timing is everything, but it's often the hardest lesson to learn. You want answers yesterday. You want solutions immediately. But God's timing is perfect even when it feels delayed. Patience is a spiritual muscle. The longer you wait, the stronger you become. Delays are not denials. They are opportunities to prepare, grow, and refine your heart for what's next. Trusting God's timing requires faith. You may not understand why things take so long, but that's part of the process. He sees the bigger picture and knows what's best for you. Impatience leads to poor choices. Rushing often brings mistakes. Waiting allows clarity, wisdom, and the right connections to appear. The right answer at the wrong time is still wrong. Timing matters. While you wait, work on yourself. Strengthen your character, expand your skills, and grow spiritually. God often uses waiting periods to shape you into the person capable of handling the blessings ahead. Patience also teaches gratitude. When the answer finally comes, you appreciate it more deeply. You recognize the effort, the lessons, and the growth that occurred during the waiting period. Finally, patience builds trust. Each time you wait and see God's perfect timing unfold, your faith deepens. You learn that His plan is never late, never random, and always for your good. Vague prayers rarely move mountains. God wants you to pray boldly, clearly, and specifically. Tell Him exactly what you need, what you fear, and what you hope for. Bold prayer demonstrates faith. When you speak openly and confidently to God, you are showing belief in His power, wisdom, and willingness to act. Fear shrinks when faith speaks boldly. Specific prayer gives clarity. Instead of general cries for help, articulate what you truly need. Ask for guidance, provision, or courage in precise terms. God knows your heart, but clarity helps align your actions with His plan. Prayer is also a conversation, not a monologue. Speak boldly, but listen intently. God often responds through insights, nudges, or circumstances. The dialogue strengthens your connection and directs your steps. Bold and specific prayer also empowers you. It transforms anxiety into hope, doubt into confidence, and indecision into action. Speaking to God this way aligns your heart with His purpose. Consistent, precise prayer builds spiritual momentum. Each request becomes a stepping stone of faith, reinforcing your trust in God's guidance and timing. Momentum brings breakthroughs you never imagined. Finally, bold prayer is an act of courage. It says, God, I believe in your power, and I trust you with this situation. Confidence grows as you see God respond to prayers spoken from the heart with clarity and courage. Life can feel isolating. You might feel abandoned, unsupported, or overwhelmed. But the truth is you are never alone. God walks with you every step of the way. His presence is constant, unseen, yet powerful. He sees your struggles, understands your pain, and is actively working on your behalf. You are never outside his reach. Sometimes God uses people to remind you of his presence. Mentors, friends, and even strangers can appear with guidance, encouragement, or resources that reflect his care. Don't dismiss the support he provides through others. Being aware of his presence changes perspective. Challenges no longer feel insurmountable. You recognize that help is available, guidance is given, and strength is renewed. You are part of a bigger story. Remembering that you are not alone also brings courage. You face adversity with confidence, knowing that God fights for you. Fear loses power when you walk with a partner who is infinitely stronger than any problem. It's important to internalize this truth daily. Declare it in prayer, meditate on it, and remind yourself that God's presence is always near. The reassurance transforms fear into faith. Finally, understanding that you are not alone allows you to extend that presence to others. When you remember God is with you, you can encourage someone else who feels isolated, creating a chain of hope and support. When life is tough, it's tempting to freeze. Fear, doubt, or exhaustion can make you want to stop. But progress happens in motion. You must keep moving even when it's difficult. Action is faith in motion. You may not have all the answers, but taking steps, however small, keeps you moving toward a solution. Movement builds confidence and clarity. Challenges often feel insurmountable because you focus on the entire journey. Break it down, take it step by step. Momentum begins with the first courageous step. Even imperfect action is better than inaction. God honors effort. He rewards those who move forward in obedience, even if the path is uncertain. Progress attracts divine guidance. Movement also reduces fear. When you act, you reclaim power from the situation. Fear thrives in stagnation, but every step you take weakens its grip. Persistence is essential. The storms may not end immediately, but forward movement positions you to receive God's breakthroughs. Consistent effort aligns your will with his plan. Finally, keeping moving cultivates resilience. Each step strengthens faith, builds courage, and prepares you for the next challenge. Motion becomes a testimony of determination and trust in God's power. It's easy to overlook small victories when facing big challenges, but celebrating small wins is vital. Each victory builds momentum, confidence, and hope for what's next. Recognize progress in any form. Did you resist giving up today? Celebrate. Did you choose prayer over panic? Celebrate. Every conscious effort counts. Celebration fuels motivation. Gratitude amplifies confidence, reminds you that God is working even when outcomes aren't immediate. Acknowledging wins strengthens your resolve. Small wins also provide perspective. They show you that progress is happening, even if the final breakthrough feels far away. Each win is a building block for greater success. When you celebrate, you invite joy into your journey. Life's challenges become more bearable when you take moments to reflect on accomplishments and divine guidance. Sharing victories inspires others. Your small wins can motivate someone else in the middle of their storm, showing them that perseverance and faith produce results. Finally, celebrating small wins reinforces gratitude. Gratitude fosters trust, and trust fosters confidence. You begin to see every step forward as a testament to God's faithfulness and your determination. The ultimate key to handling life's storms is surrender. Release the need to control everything. Trust God to lead, guide, and provide. Surrender is not weakness, it's strength. Stepping into confidence comes from recognizing that you are not alone. God walks with you, equips you, and fights for you. Knowing this allows you to act boldly rather than fearfully. Let go of anxiety and doubt. They are chains that hold you back. Surrender transforms fear into courage, indecision into clarity, and hesitation into decisive action. Confidence grows as you obey. Faithful steps, even small ones, reinforce that God is trustworthy. Every decision aligned with His guidance strengthens your assurance. Surrender also requires humility. Admit that you don't have all the answers, but trust that the one who does is leading. Humility paired with faith produces unmatched inner strength. When you surrender and step forward, you create space for God's power to work in your life. Opportunities, solutions, and clarity manifest in ways that overwhelm human expectations. Finally, stepping into confidence after surrender transforms your life. Fear no longer dictates choices. Doubt no longer stalls action. Peace fills the gaps, and you realize God has equipped you to handle what lies ahead.